Welcome back, everyone, to our IronCast. Cast Iron. IronCast. This time we decided to do another news flash breakdown. News breakdown.
News flash in the pan.
Yeah, news flash in the pan. In our cast iron. IronCast. That's actually really good. We should do something with that.
Workshop it.
Flash in the cast iron skillet. Anyways.
Does that involve setting things on fire?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, I can roll with it.
Anyway, just kind of going down the list of what's been happening in the last few months. The news cycle goes so fast it's going to be hard to get everything from the last few months, but maybe the last few weeks at least. And I guess starting off with the most distant event. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. The dictator of Venezuela. We captured him.
Oh.
Black bagged him.
What's his name again?
Maduro.
Maduro.
Nicolas
Okay.
Maduro.
Yeah.
And he's been causing us some troubles. So we sent,
Military.
the army in. We got him. Not the SEALs. SEALs would say too much about it. They write a book about it. And the army decided, that they like to do a little less public broadcasting.
Flash.
Yeah, they keep things quiet.
Bam.
But no, they went in and got him. Absolutely shut down the entire nation's air defense systems that they bought from China.
Really?
On Wish.com. And, these were the Timu knockoffs.
Okay.
And they did a quick incursion. We sent F-35s, B-1s, Apaches, helicopters. And apparently they used a sonic weapon as well to get rid of some of his guards.
What did it do?
Apparently it's something that they've been testing. Does kind of like what we've been hearing with the Havana syndrome, if you've been familiar with that. Some of our, I'm speculating it's the same thing, and we were just testing it, but some of our people in Cuba at Guantanamo Bay were reporting that they were getting headaches and nausea and vomiting and everything, and they were hearing this weird noise before that.
Okay.
And apparently this is what we were using against Maduro's guards to incapacitate them. They just pass out.
Oh, okay.
And get some
So you don't kill them, you just knock them out.
Exactly. You don't have to kill them.
Nice.
And you use some sort of loud sonic weapon against them. That apparently the only they can hear in their heads. It's like directed energy sort of thing.
Okay.
And I don't know, that's kind of scary, but kind of cool at the same time. But we got them. Apparently the justification was that they were sending drugs to the U.S. through the cartels, and he wasn't doing anything about the cartels. He was actually encouraging them to come here and cause trouble, bring drugs, all that stuff. So we decided, well, we've been trying to do this diplomatically and stop it that way. He's not helping us. He's making the problem worse. So as a matter of self-defense, we're just going to stop the problem there and try him in U.S. court for drug charges.
Mm-hmm.
If he's running drugs as an official government official, then we can do that.
How do you rationalize he's in another country, didn't necessarily break any laws in his country, but we can go and get him because he broke laws in our country?
Well, he's bringing drugs illegally into our country. So it's kind of like he keeps provoking us. Almost like, not quite a declaration of war, but it's like, if you don't do anything about it, we will have to do something about it. That's kind of what the logic is there that the administration was using.
Well, I know he was a bad man and a bad government. A friend of mine lived there many, many years, and she lives here now. And she was just happy that he was taken out. And I've seen just glimpses of the news where hundreds of thousands of people are in the streets, and it's, I guess, what kind of bothers me. I mean, I'm happy for them if they're happy, because this guy was supposedly horrible to his people. But my question is this going to end up like every other country who has had a regime change, and they're so happy that this regime is gone, but then they pick another idiot that puts them in the same straits again? Mm-hmm. Well, or rebellion turns into chaos.
Terrorist organizations pop up left and right.
Yeah.
Power despises a vacuum.
Yes.
Well, that was my concern when I heard about it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We did another intervention, but then I was having 2003 flashbacks. Like, okay, no one likes Saddam Hussein. Mm-hmm. He was a very bad person. Mm-hmm. Disliked by his people. Disappeared people all the time. Mm-hmm. Horrible person. Okay, fine. He got his what he justly deserved.
And you see people in the streets happy and pulling the statue down and all of that.
Exactly. They pulled the statue down, and then the terrorists took over. Mm-hmm. And things got a lot worse. Mm-hmm. Do you take the dictator? Sorry. Do you take the dictator, the one bad guy, or take a bunch of bad guys? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I thought, okay, this isn't exactly like that, because we're not doing boots on the ground, like permanent boots on the ground, regime change, taking over the country. We're just going to nab the guy, bring him in for drug charges here in the U.S., let them do their thing. They have a vice president who we think is okay, and she'll step up and do a transitional government and everything. They'll have elections again. That's good. But then...
Yeah, but then... or the one that caused me to...
I discovered that that's not the case. The plan is apparently that we actually are going to run Venezuela until that happens.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And determine how the money is spent. Yeah. And they will control the oil, which was a major issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if we're going to do that, we might as well take the oil. So it would be foolish not to if we're going to do this. But is this the right course of action? I don't know.
Yeah, is it
Iraq all over again?
Yeah, or being the world's policeman, you know?
Well, I think the justification is a lot better than Iraq because they have been really messing with us as far as cartels. They sent cartels here, Tren del Aragua. And they're the ones who took over the few apartment complexes in Colorado.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember
we were holding people hostage, and the police wouldn't do anything about it.
Right. They said it wasn't even a problem.
Yeah, this is not happening. Mm-hmm. No. Well, they're the ones who did that. They were Venezuela getting sent here by Maduro himself.
Oh.
And they're doing human trafficking operations. They're doing drug running operations. They're doing all sorts of things in our country, and he won't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. So we have to do something about it. Saddam Hussein, there was a lot less of that to go on. Mm-hmm. 9/11 happens, and we're like, he had nothing to do with it. Mm. Bush Jr. wanted to finish Bush Sr.'s war in 91, the first Gulf War. Mm-hmm. So he wanted a second Gulf War to finish the job.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole reason why Iraq was implicated in that. If we wanted to be reasonable about 9/11, it would have been, there was some Afghan involvement, but a quick, like this, SEAL team in and out, or Ranger Battalion in and out operation could have taken care of most of what we did in 20 years.
Oh, goodness.
In the desert. So Ron Paul was on point there.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like it.
If the U.S. Army, if big Army gets involved here, I fear we may have another 20-year stay in Venezuela. If we're not careful.
I wish the people could run their own country without the corruption. But how do you weed out all the corruption? Even if it's the people themselves.
Is that our problem?
Yeah, should America be involved in that part?
I guess that's part of the whole, being the police for other nations and whatnot.
Yeah.
In the business. But,
well, we've taken care of the part that was our problem. Hopefully with him gone.
Chop the head off the snake.
Yeah. Hopefully with him gone, the cartels will get the message, and maybe some of the drugs dry up. Some of the gangs dry up. We'll see if that combined with what we're going to talk about a little later on take care of the whole issue together on a two-front focus. I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Yeah.
But that thing happens.
And I guess what causes me to not worry as much is that, I've spoken to 2 people now that were in Venezuela, and they knew what was going on and how bad it really was, or still is, I'm sure. And they did need help.
Mm-hmm. They were starving, because their economy had gone away. Yeah,
and there's a difference between, being the world's policeman, which makes us a police state of sorts, and helping when someone actually is in need.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to stop the Holocaust.
Responsive versus preemptive, that sort of thing? Or?
Yes. No, yes. Respond. That would be the respond part. Don't go in until there's proven need. And that seems to be a pretty sketchy definition, of what is a nation in need that needs help.
Yeah.
And Venezuela, just from what little I do know, definitely could not protect themselves as a nation. So someone had to come in and help them out.
Yeah. Though that being said, I don't think it was about that.
You don't?
No, because there's lots of countries in the world, actually probably the majority of countries in the world, where people are not doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
We can't help them all.
Mm-mm.
We can't overthrow every dictator in the world.
Right.
So that's not our job.
So this was about the oil?
I think it was a two-pronged, well, partially about the oil. It was about the oil, but not in the sense of greed necessarily. We had built the infrastructure for the harvesting of that oil. U.S. companies had.
Oh.
And then they kicked us out.
Oh.
The government did, and said, well, now that you built it all, we're going to nationalize it and take your sites and take your equipment that you invested in, all your U.S. companies, and it's ours now.
Oh,
well, hang on. You just used us.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a long time ago, maybe about a couple decades or so. But it happened. Mm-hmm. And so we're still sore about that. But also I think it was strategic. If what Trump says is going to come to pass, that China is a problem, Russia is a problem, and they have big connections with Venezuela, both of those countries. China was the major military supplier of Venezuela, and Russia was secondary. They flew Russian airplanes. They had Chinese air defense systems. They had all these things, and China was going to get a big foothold in Venezuela as far as the oil goes, and they were going to put installations there themselves, Chinese installations.
Okay.
We can't have that in our hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
We want them way over there on the other side of the world.
Go play on your side of the world.
Yeah. So, and this invokes the Monroe Doctrine, if you're familiar with that.
I have heard the term, but I don't know enough to even be able to explain it.
It was back in the times of James Monroe, who was a president early on. I think early 1800s or late 1700s. And yeah, it was early 1800s. And it was European powers should stay over there. Basically, this is in the time of Spain, France, England, having territories all over the world, and some in the Western Hemisphere, in South America. Argentina was one of them, owned by the British, and that was where the Falklands conflict kind of got started.
Okay.
Anyway, Portugal had some, and we said it is our stance as the United States, our new country, that all your European powers should stay on that side of the world, and we'll stay on this side of the world, and nary the two shall mess with each other, right? And that way we can avoid conflict again between Europe and the United States, and leave us alone, kind of thing. And that largely was successful.
That's the Monroe Doctrine.
Monroe Doctrine. Okay. Eventually got Spain to back out of Mexico. Through the Spanish-American War, we acquired Puerto Rico, some other Spanish territories, Hawaii, some islands. And Cuba got rid of Spain. all these islands that were, part of European powers were largely left to their own devices.
Okay.
Now we've decided to modernize that in the sense that, okay, well, we see a looming war on the horizon, perhaps. We don't want them to get these hostile communist powers to gain foothold again. We're not so worried about the Europeans anymore. We're worried about the communists. And they were doing quite well in Venezuela. That Maduro was an open communist. And hence why everyone was starving. That's what it always leads to.
That's what happens.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. So yeah, we want to just shove them over and get us and leave us alone in this hemisphere, and we largely have done that. And this was kind of a demonstration of that power.
Okay, because they were trying to
get off our lawn.
Yeah, they're trying to invade the lawn. Well, and isn't it Texas or Florida that won't allow foreigners to buy land?
One of those.
Or China.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I can't remember which, but I was like, that's a really good plan.
Smart.
Well,
because they have been buying up a lot of land around, farmland, U.S. farmland, and controlling the companies that harvest that farm, and properties around military bases.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, properties at the end of runways at Air Force bases, they'll buy up, and they'll track what comes out of there. We have a cargo plane. At this time, this direction is heading off that way, and they'll document all that.
Weird. I don't think that should be permitted.
Oh no! Well, they had CCP police stations in the U.S.
No, are you serious?
The idea being for Chinese citizens only. So they would have students here in the U.S. And just to make sure they didn't run off. Or decide to, because they'll send people here, and they'll have their families in China still, and they'll say, here's what we want you to do. We want you to send reports back every once in a while as to what you're seeing. Look at these things, take these photos, whatever. And if you don't, of course, we have your family here, so you better do what we say. If someone decides to run or apply for U.S. asylum or something, and spill the beans. Well, they need someone here to enforce the CCP's will on that person here in the U.S. So they were running these underground police stations to make sure that, if they want to disappear one of their own citizens here, they could. So
not good.
They found out some of those and shut them down. There's probably more that we don't know about. So. That was kind of leading to this. China, get off our lawn, get out of the hemisphere. Even though Venezuela is not U.S. territory, we're going to take executive action and be the big player here in this hemisphere, as we are. We are the predominant player in the Western Hemisphere. So,
not Canada?
You mean the 51st state?
Yeah. Or Greenland. Greenland isn't.
That's on the list too.
They're talking about buying Greenland.
Yeah, that was also on the short list.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. As long as they're not a state, as long as they're a territory.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
That'd be cool.
The Dutch, I think, probably still want it.
I think they're the ones that are aren't they in the talks?
Well, the Dutch.
That's pretty much who you have to buy it from.
Yeah, we would buy it probably. There's some small talk about, militarily, could we? Yeah, we could, absolutely. In 5 seconds, we could take it if we wanted. But
that'd be nice. And
I think what's going to happen
buy the real estate.
We're going to buy it from the Greenlanders themselves. The Dutch are very much against it. Of course. They see it as invading their territory, which kind of, but do we believe in the right of self-governance?
Yeah.
If the Greenlanders themselves say we want to join the U.S.,
then
we have an offer. We have a standing offer from the U.S. that they will give us so many dollars per person to join them. We agree. The Dutch, should we let them say anything about it?
No.
they have the right of self-governance.
Mm-hmm.
They can secede if they want to.
Hmm.
And let's not forget that this is not the first time we've bought something from the Dutch. I think we bought... What was our last purchase from them? Was it Guam? It was some island, I think.
I'll look it up.
We got something from them in the not too distant past either.
Probably not as big as Greenland.
No.
From Denmark?
I don't know
Denmark.
I don't know how populous Greenland is, but
It's only like 51,000 people. It's hardly populated. So by population, they wouldn't really be a state; they'd be a territory.
Yeah,
Which is good because we wouldn't want them to vote because they would probably vote leftist.
The largest real estate transaction in Danish history occurred December 2020 when Hemstaden AB acquired the entire portfolio of HD Engedom from NIAM, N-I-A-M. I don't know if that helps.
No.
that just was
I might
the
need
largest.
to say America.
Yeah.
Our last real estate purchased by the U.S. from Denmark.
We purchased the West Indies from Denmark in 1917. They are now known as the U.S. Virgin
Yeah.
Islands.
Hey, I have a project there.
Yeah. So that was their territory. We purchased it, and
1917 for $25 million in gold. Nice.
so it's not an unprecedented thing like they're saying. Like I
don't-
deals all the time.
I don't start twitching if you're actually buying it, just like you would buy any piece of real estate.
We made the Louisiana purchase. We purchased Alaska from Russia. We did all sorts of land deals, and so it's not a crazy thing. So I fully support it. It's strategically important. We put radar bases there in the Cold War. We've landed cargo planes there, research planes, back during the Cold War when we had deals with them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, all that infrastructure is gone now, but it would be beneficial to rebuild it because we would have a lot more forewarning if there were missiles coming over the North Pole from Russia.
Oh.
Because if there were to be a missile war between Asian powers and the U.S., they wouldn't come around the circumference of the world.
Right.
They would come over the top, which is shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have early warning more than we already do.
Yeah. I will confess I'm not a military person. Like, as in, I don't know anything really about the movements and strategies. And what was that one game that people would play that was really big
Risk?
strategic? Was it Risk?
I don't.
Whereas, you have
that's the
battle
board
groups
game.
and
Well, that-
all sorts of things.
Board game or
I think it was a board game.
some.
Okay,
Risk
this
is the only
as
one I can
old as
think of.
I am. So this is an old game, but it was you took over countries
Yeah.
and
Sounds
that
like
sort
Risk.
of thing.
Yeah, probably.
And so, I used to look at that game and go,
It is a long game. It can
Yeah.
take weeks.
yeah,
play.
and
Yeah,
that's
depending on
definitely
how
not
you
up my
do
alley.
something, yeah.
So I can understand what you're telling me, but as to exactly how beneficial any movement would be is my ability to understand it is pretty sketchy.
Well, it's a staging area too. We put a lot of equipment up there.
Greenland.
Yeah, and store it.
Mm-hmm.
If we need to go to Europe, you put bases there for aircraft crossing the Atlantic, because you don't generally cross the Atlantic just in one
Straight
go.
line. Mm-hmm.
You can with tankers. There's flying gas stations if you have air-to-air refueling capability on those planes, but it's a lot easier to just kind of hop around. You go to the northern U.S., you maybe stop in Canada if you want to, but you can go straight to Greenland, refuel,
Mm-hmm.
go to England, refuel, down through Europe and refuel, and you cross the ocean going the north route. So that means it's that much less foreign territory we have to land on to do that.
And are you, what you were just talking about, is that ships or is that
Planes.
airplanes? Okay, airplanes.
Although you could put ships there too, submarine bases.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I was just trying to get it in my head, just the scale, because when we went to Israel, we went to Newark, and then went straight to Israel. We didn't stop in between.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But that's obviously a commercial airline, not a war machine. So I'm sure they have different needs.
Yeah.
But I'm close.
No, I mean, those are planes meant to cross the Atlantic. They have big fuel tanks. Fighter jets, of course, may not have that much fuel on board. So they have to either take a tanker with them, to cross the Atlantic. But that takes a lot of concentration. Your pilots are tired because they're flying for many, many hours straight. And refueling in the air takes a lot of concentration when they're already tired. So if you can avoid that, just kind of island hop. And you have rest along the way.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned this earlier, but in something I was watching, and this is a while back, so I probably won't get it right, but apparently there is a travel path from a base in somewhere around Switzerland. I don't think it's Switzerland, but somewhere in that area in the Netherlands. And it kind of comes down like this, and it gets close enough to, if you had something in Greenland and then you had something maybe in Britain, that you could spot that thing coming before.
Yeah, you have a really good eye on the Russian Northern Fleet.
Okay, maybe that's what it was.
Because anything coming in and out of there has to go through either the English Channel or around the other side of Britain. Well,
around the Northwest. Okay. Yeah, brain cramp.
The Northwest Passage. Eh? But yeah, I'd fully support purchasing Greenland. How about you?
If you can, yeah. Wouldn't bother me. Of course, you have to think about, it's not like they're spending money that isn't yours. Taxpayer money is what is being used to make that purchase. So you also kind of have to, at least in my mind, I don't want to buy Greenland, but I would rather them buy Greenland than come up with a bunch of hokey, it's slightly insane legislation that costs an arm and a leg, but is as useless as my grandma used to say, tits on a boar hog.
Yeah, we're at least getting something for it.
Yeah, at least it seems like a wise purchase.
Yeah, I'm in debt up to my eyeballs, but look at my shiny new car. All right.
Yeah.
I joke, I guess, about in my head of, if you're gonna, if you're gonna buy Greenland with, money, thing from across, 300 million people, then, okay, you buy it with their money, and then everybody gets 1/300 millionth of Greenland.
There you go.
Their own little, square foot or whatever,
There you go.
Is that like the those little certificates, 1 square foot of Ireland or something that they were selling for a while?
Yeah.
You can be a lord.
You could go put your toe on it.
Yeah. Which I think it turned out that the whatever thing, giving out lordship titles and whatnot was a scam.
It was.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, what's next?
Although apparently it's been a few years since I saw this, but supposedly there's a lot of abandoned castles, over in Europe that feels like, hey, if you will take care of it, you can have it. Kind of like, they would rather somebody have it, and as long as you're taking care of it, it's like, you can have it.
That is true, by the way. That is not a scam.
Yeah.
There are a lot of castles that
they would rather them be kept up at all rather than fall into disrepair and whatnot, or more than they already are.
And it's called the money pit. Yeah. Oh, you want to buy one? Let's go in together and buy one. Yeah. I would.
Give me
in a heartbeat.
Give me the stones and I'll build it with my own 2 hands.
Yeah. You just send me over with some.
It's already
wood,
there. You just have to repair.
Well, yeah.
But yeah.
Just need a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
A lot of rocks, a lot of lumber, maybe some electricity from some source.
Were they built initially with electricity?
No.
They were not.
No, they weren't.
The ancestors did not build
They're
them with
really going to have to
electricity.
do it by hand.
No, you want to keep it as keep it in the
Historical.
Yeah, it's like in the
accuracy.
spirits,
Someone goes in there with buzzsaws and drills, and the ancestors, he mocks them.
Yeah. Like,
just give me a generator. I'd be fine with that.
Plane ticket costs and
Well, yeah.
Vacation over in the castle,
Swirling the wine.
Yeah.
From the kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, I have a friend who is just as interesting as can just possibly be. In, we'll just say a different country. As long as you can mark out the property, mark out your turf, and you start building, you take possession of that land at no cost. Right? But you have to start building. You can't just buy the land and then leave it fallow. You have to build something on it. And so they've spent a couple of decades building a house, and there's no road to it. You have to walk part of the way, and it's by a lagoon, and it's very cool. And the husband has relatives there, so because I was worried about, right, in a foreign country, you've got this land, and you're paying people to build stuff, but it's his relatives, and so he knows the people that are helping him build it, and it's just as cute as it can be. So yeah.
Curious what country that is.
And I think the last, conversion, $1 American dollar is worth 200 of these dollars. So you could do quite a bit for very little.
Well, I'm super curious now.
Yeah. When we're not on film, I'll tell you who it is. But yeah, I love hearing the stories because it's just, it's building in a different culture. It's very interesting. So
that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm obviously not finding the proper search terms to figure out where I saw that. But anyways.
Where you saw what?
The thing about,
the castles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the search terms right.
There's like HGTV shows, there's shows where it will show you somebody has purchased a broken down castle and they're rebuilding it. And I just love it.
Reminds me of that film it was that old 80s Tom Hanks film, Money Pit.
Yes, that's when we're a minute ago, I was like money pit. It's a money pit.
He falls to the floor.
Yes, the castles would be a money pit. But if you're happy with your pit, I would be happy with that kind of pit.
Get out of my swamp.
Get out of my dungeon. Because I'm sure they have dungeons.
Now I'm thinking Monty Python, the Holy Grail, they thought I was a fool to build a castle in the swamp. I did it anyway. It sank into the swamp. So we built it back up. That one sank into the swamp. So we built another, and it sank into the swamp. But the fourth one stayed up.
On top of all the other.
Yeah, because it's an island of rocks.
You filled up the swamp. Yeah. Anyway.
On Greenland, last little point on that, several European countries have deployed just a handful of troops there as a deterrent for us invading.
Really?
Like, we wouldn't want to, hurt them if we were to militarily take. So, like, Britain sent 1 officer. Germany sent, 5 guys. And
really?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Interesting.
As if we're going to, carpet bomb Greenland and something. No.
No. What would be the point?
We'd melt all the snow.
Global warming?
We would ruin the good skiing.
I remember, and this is just totally random fact, when I was teaching a teens Bible study in Berryville, one of the girls I loved her. She was so sweet. She had to leave the class because she was moving to Greenland. And back then I was like, why would you want to move to Greenland? I've since found that it's beautiful there. And, but yeah, she just had no clue.
Just remember, Greenland is the icy place and Iceland is the green place.
It's the green place.
Doggone Vikings. Confusing everyone.
Okay, what's next?
All right. So coming here stateside a little more. Okay, well, another point on Venezuela. We've captured some oil tankers.
Captured them?
We've captured them.
I know we blew some stuff up. Some boats.
Oh yeah,
blew some boats.
The drug boats.
Drug boats.
Yeah. I mean, we've captured several large oil tankers.
Oh, okay.
That were trying to flee the country.
Oh.
And we've impounded them, and we've claimed we own the ships now. We own the oil on board. And yeah.
Interesting.
Russia had some quibbles with us on that because one of the crews of the tankers, immediately before being captured, spray painted the Russian flag on their boat in an attempt to be like, hey, we're flagged under the Russia now.
Right.
If you capture us, you're declaring war on Russia. No, that doesn't work.
No.
That didn't fly. But Russia claimed it was, and we're like, we don't believe you. So anyway,
okay.
That was another little point on theirs. Coming here stateside, there was a shooting involving ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement, of a Miss Renee Good.
Oh, is that the chick that tried to drive over an ICE agent?
Mm-hmm. And that has resulted in lots of consternation among the left, and riots and other misdeeds.
Are they trying to pull another George Floyd?
Yeah.
Is that the right name?
Back in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use that as an excuse to have a summer of
the winter of love. Yes.
Yes. Let's start in the winter.
It's actually already been coined the winter of love.
Oh,
this time around. As kind of a joke regarding 2020. Yeah. So several new angles have come out on that event, new camera angles, and pretty much put to bed the argument that she didn't intend to hit him. The guy was in front. She made eye contact with him, smiled at him, and gunned it. You can see from the camera he was wearing that she saw him. So it wasn't
wasn't an accident.
No.
She meant to do it.
No.
Yeah.
And she struck him. That argument went out the window. Oh, she didn't even hit him. You can see from one angle his feet being pushed back, unless he was like doing a double Michael Jackson, where both feet just move back at the same time.
Oh dear.
Without him pushing.
Oh, okay.
The car struck him and pushed him. So, yeah.
So she got shot.
Yeah, she got shot.
And the guy was a good shot.
It's being
apparently.
The feds have found that it's probably a good shoot. Justified at least. It's not good that it happened.
Right.
Course, but
no, what I was saying is he was a good shot because he would have had to be if he was being knocked off balance and shot his weapon, fired his weapon, and did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was an unskilled goofball.
Right.
You know.
He hit the target, and yeah, it's very unfortunate. But don't go try to run people over. You know, especially when they're federal agents. What do you think is going to happen? Right. Regardless of what you think one way or the other on deportations. What did you expect is going to happen?
Right. I won't say made the mistake because I posted it on purpose, but I got embroiled in a to-do on Facebook because I posted a comment by Thomas Sowell about activism. And, you know, what people call activism now is running over people, blockades. You know, you're violating other people's rights to make a statement. And I don't believe that sort of activism nowadays is helpful. I think it's illegal. They're doing things that are, you know, there's peaceful protest where you're not blocking traffic. You're not, you know, go stand on the Washington, D.C., you know, the Capitol lawn.
Hold some signs.
Hold some signs, make your statement. but you're not violating anyone else's rights or putting anyone else's life in danger. But nowadays, they're paid protesters that are hell-bent on causing chaos and just rampantly violating other people's rights. That's not, I do not think that is profitable. Well, profitable. They're making money at it, but that's not what I mean. Effective. It is not effective anymore, and it's not honorable. I mean, you're dishonoring yourself. You're dishonoring the people that you claim to speak for. They're better. Use your words, use your vote, use your words, use your platforms, goodness. You can do that on social media without violating anyone's rights. You may call people names, but, you're not going to put a law officer in a position where they have to fire on you, So I hate the way they do it now.
But I thought you didn't like cops.
I don't. As a rule. As a rule, I am not, how should I put that? I have less of a problem with policing in general as I do with the specifics. We don't want to go down that very dark roadway, but
of immigration or?
Speeding, traffic laws versus, or what is it? There's a term.
We've already covered that topic in the past.
Law or where there's no victim.
Victimless crimes.
Victimless crimes. Victimless crimes, or personal choice crimes. Like, if you want to go smoke marijuana, knock yourself out. You're dumb, but go for it.
They will, actually.
They will knock themselves out. But, that's a personal choice as long as you're not violating someone else's rights. But, there's a balance in all things.
I could bring something up, and I'm not going to.
No.
Oh, so it's an upper, not a downer.
Okay. I don't want to go off on that tangent just because.
Yeah, and that has been in my travels of the internet. Mm-hmm. I've seen that point raised by a lot of leftists in that, so now the stand your ground conservatives who in 2020 were gearing up for, they were getting a little scared of Joe Biden and his federal administrations doing something against them. Mm-hmm. Are now in support of the federal government doing what they're doing in deportations and supporting the cops. Mm. Whereas in 2020, we were generally against the administration and against what the police were doing in regards to COVID and all that. Mm-hmm. They're saying, so you're hypocrites. Well, no. They're very different things. Uh-huh. Right? One is currently enforcing good laws. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't get to come to the country illegally. Right. We're going to give you, the worst thing that's going to happen to you, we give you a free ticket home. Mm-hmm. Right. Whereas before, you can't run your own business that you paid for. You're hemorrhaging money in the meantime. Mm-hmm. You can't make money, but you're spending money, holding your breath. They're shutting down the economy. You can't work. You can't do anything. So
they weren't enforcing laws that were already on the books.
No.
They were violating laws that were already on the books.
And they weren't inventing laws. They were inventing rules that you had no
guidance.
CDC guidance. You didn't have any say in these rules. Mm-hmm. They were just enforced upon you at someone's whim.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't voted with representation into law. They were just pressure points.
It was a hostile takeover. A little bit.
Yeah.
So they're very different situations. Mm-hmm. That's why you see the supposed flip-flopping, which isn't really, in regards to supporting law enforcement. No, we can get into the reason why they're doing what they're doing, immigration, illegal immigration. A lot of who they're going after currently is not Consuela, little old grandma, it's people who are in these gangs, who are human trafficking, who are drug trafficking, who are, guilty of crimes against people, kids. They're not arresting the kids generally. But they're arresting people who have crimes against kids of an unnamed nature. So, yes, you don't want these people in your country. Send them back post haste. And
just so happens to be that there are a lot of them.
Yes.
And why would countries want to allow the criminal element? Why would they aid them in their effort to enter the United States? Because you want to sow disruption. You want to sow criminality, to dissolve the social order, and then it's not so hard to go in and take them over.
Yeah, I think the globalists want that for sure. I don't think Venezuela has any aspirations of physically taking over the U.S. I don't think they can. They're so remote. But they're an agent of destabilization for sure, so that someone else can. And then give them a kickback.
Well, and if you have China and Russia influencing Venezuela, then Venezuela is accessory to the crime.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, it looks like the actual players are not guilty themselves. Oh, it's not us. It's Venezuela.
Yeah.
It's those gangs. And even Venezuela proper, because you could say, well, it's not us. It's the criminals. It's not our official governments. So, so there's the Hispanic element of the illegal immigration. There's also the in Minnesota the Muslim element of illegal immigration, which is not actually illegal. It was granted by Joe Biden, the permanent status or the protected status rather of Somalis in the United States. You can't get rid of them. You can't even review their files for deportation. They're protected. Trump has rescinded that in recent days, which is why they're going after some Somalis for fraud. They're taking care. This is another news story. They're taking advantage of Minnesota and the U.S. government. Minnesota probably knows about this and has for a while.
But they just haven't, and that's Tim Walz,
who was the vice presidential candidate for the DNC. And what's been happening is they're being coached by Blue Cross Blue Shield, the insurance company, and some NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and actually state actors in how to set up daycares that aren't actually daycares, but receive federal funding and state funding to run. Nick Shirley is a reporter, an independent reporter, and he's gone around to these daycares and saying, "Hey, can I get some information to sign up my child for these daycares?" And these people come to the door like, "Who are you? No, there's no daycare here. Go away." And the building's empty. It's like an empty warehouse. Or
fraud.
Or there's a fictitious address, or these sort of things. There's no kids there. There never were.
They're just raking in bucks.
Yeah, and it's a small community, or not a small community. It's a very circular community of Somalis there in Michigan, Minnesota. So, another thing that they'll do is they're being coached on setting up companies. So, like, one person goes to the doctor. They speak fluent English. They say once they get to the doctor, "I don't speak English. I need a translator." Well, their buddy who is a translator. Who is a translator?
Oh no.
The doctor has to pay by the federal statute. Has to pay $100 an hour, minimum of 8 hours, for the one visit to translate.
Wow.
So that's $800 for maybe 30 minutes.
Oh wow.
And so then they've caught them. Two guys every week or two will take nearly $1 million of cash in 2 roll-on bags through TSA, which they're allowed as long as they're checked bags. So they can carry up to, I think, $1 million back to Somalia and distribute it to the terrorist organizations. These are donations from the community from the Muslim community in Minnesota.
Wow.
So, and they're sending money back home specifically for the terrorists.
Goodness. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they've been they can provide receipts. They've been tracking all this, and it's all puzzle pieces are coming together. And they're saying, "Wow, this was really well thought out." They didn't think of this themselves. Someone coached them on this, and it was the government actor.
And that person's probably getting vicious kickbacks. That's how they're raking in the bucks.
Oh yeah, they get a cut for their campaigns, to keep them in office, so that because the people who are also making money don't want them to leave office because that's how they're getting their money. So the politicians get their money, go to the NGOs. The NGOs give money to these other sub-organizations, and the sub-organizations give money to the terrorists in other countries. And these other sub-organizations also give money in donations back to the politicians.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for that one.
Yeah. So it's all a circular money laundering scheme.
A racket.
And we're paying for it because the federal money goes to the states. Just for these organizations, just for these benefits programs. Oh, well, we have to help the poor, right? The children need our help in the daycares and everything, and the parents can't go to work, and if they're caring for the kids, so the kids need daycares, on the social programs and food stamps and everything.
But there are no kids.
There are no kids.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's what they're uncovering now, and that's another reason why there's lots of protests going on up there. You have the ICE raids, and also they're mad about these things being uncovered.
Well, all right then.
And not only is it Minnesota, but who's another usual protest suspect? Portland.
Portland. Oh no, are they at it again?
People have been shot. I think there have been shootings of officers in Portland.
Where was the? I just barely saw a clip of protesters or something actually going to an officer's house
and broke into his car
and breaking in.
Oh, they broke into lots of police cars there on that street, and they had chains. They were well prepared. They broke into these cars. They hooked chains to the bolted-in steel boxes, the safes in the back of those cars.
Okay.
Full of documents and weapons and everything.
Okay.
And they yanked the safes out with another car. Pry them open. And one guy got arrested for taking the rifle. And they've got arrest warrants from ICE for different people, so they've compromised lots of data.
Oh, okay.
Probably the names of other officers, the names of other people involved, maybe informants. So there's people in very serious danger here from violence. They're going to go after these people. And they have no inhibitions when it comes to using violence. They're communists.
Somebody was putting forth the idea that these paid protesters think it's a game. It's like it's not reality.
Well,
and they won't go to jail if they break the law, and and so it's just a game to them. They're not really like the lady who got shot. They don't realize I don't think what was said was they aren't really perceiving that they are putting their own lives at risk.
Well, Miss Good's lesbian lover was recorded after the killing saying, "You were using real bullets? Why are you using real bullets?"
Yeah.
Guns shoot bullets. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were expecting rubber bullets or something. Yeah. And I'm like,
these aren't airsoft. These are real guns.
Yeah, this is not laser tag.
Right.
Yeah, I just thought that was an interesting point.
Well, they're used to crowd control measures, which you use beanbag rounds, you use pepper balls, you use these things to kind of quell the crowd if it's a kind of a riot situation. Riot police use those. Try not to kill anyone. These were not riot police. These were federal agents enforcing a warrant on someone. She used her car, got involved. They weren't crowd control police. They were actual federal agents doing jobs. They were carrying guns. It's like, once again, what do you expect is going to happen? And in conversations with someone who was kind of playing the devil's advocate, I was like, stop making me defend the police.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's like we don't want to defend him.
I shouldn't say that, but
yeah, there's a balance and everything. There are, like I just wish we could go back to the Old West where you had county sheriffs. You had sheriffs, but the people themselves
disputes were resolved by a duel in the street.
Duel in the street.
That's kind of like a play too, but
I just, privatized. I don't know. Why don't we have these same problems with firemen that we have with police? Why? And it's the only thing I can come to is it's got to be about the money, because firemen get paid regardless. Policemen get paid when they hand out tickets. And I think that was just where, it headed down the wrong path.
Well, and don't construe what I said, don't make me stop making me defend police. Don't construe that as I hate police. I don't.
Right.
They do a lot of good jobs. I was asked one time when I was running for office, are you supportive of the police? And this was from a police chief at the time. And I said, it depends. When they do good things, I applaud them. When they do bad things, I condemn them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you support the police force of Nigeria? We don't know what you don't know.
I don't know anything about them.
You don't know anything about them.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do good things or do they do bad things?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's define good, define bad.
Right. Yeah. So
define professional versus power mongers. I grew up. I lived for 20 plus years in a town where the police force was professional, and they were out catching bad guys more than they were out handing out tickets for you doing a rolling stop at a stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing very good things and putting the rest on the back burner. But then to move over here and it be the complete opposite, that's where this is bad. I do not approve.
Mm-hmm.
The way this was handled, I do approve of. It doesn't mean I wholesale hate every cop that I see.
Is the lobbying force moral and just?
Mm-hmm.
And secondarily, how important is that law? Or is it just petty?
Is it victimless and just to get money?
Yeah.
That aggravates the fire out of me. Especially when, you have a theft of a vehicle. We had a theft of a vehicle. We depended on the police infrastructure to catch the bad guys for a year. Nothing done. Not a doggone thing. And then I call the insurance company, do you reimburse us for a stolen vehicle? And they're like, yeah, give us a day or two. I'll call you back. They found the truck within the next day. So 24 hours, they found the truck, had called the people who had taken the truck and said, you give it back to them or we're calling the police. Within 2 days, we had the truck back. Okay. So
they outpoliced the police.
They just demolished. They far exceeded what the police were willing to do because they're capable, but they weren't willing. The insurance company was both capable, far more capable, and very willing because that meant they were going to have to pay out money. So they would rather find you the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, when things don't make sense like that, when they're not actually to serve and protect, they're to ticket and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a new car, that doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, I fuss about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a legitimate fuss. So.
Yeah, it goes back to kind of our discussions on Christian anarchism.
Yes.
You know, could a society exist without police? You know, no, I know I have kind of made a name for myself with those who know me as being very hardcore libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
And with leanings towards, okay, maybe the anarchists have some points in years past. The older I get, the more I realize maybe there's some flaws to that logic. Maybe minarchism is the way to go. You know,
Find that.
But
minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
Not men as in males.
Minarchism.
Minimum men, yes. No.
Yeah, so there are a few legitimate roles of government. There's a few things they should do.
Right. Maintaining
national borders is one of them, which is why I'm generally in favor of ICE. Right there, defending the borders and border patrol, being empowered to enforce the basic roles of government, which is defend the borders, provide for the general security and welfare of people within its borders, the citizens. Elected officials work for the citizens, not the community. That's been a phrase that I've heard a lot. For the betterment of our community.
Collectivism.
Yeah. No, you are not. You are not representatives of. I'm not a representative of the residents of Lowell. I'm an elected representative of the citizens of Lowell. Everyone else, if they're along for the ride, fine. But you know, the citizens of Lowell are my concern. And that holds true for state and national level politicians as well. So
does that mean the same for like policing, you know, minimum necessary?
Say again.
Does say the word minimal, not anarchism, but
minarchism.
Minarchism, so you can get that out. Minarchism. How does that apply to like policing as well?
Oh, sure.
Just minimum services necessary.
You don't want an army, right? You don't want a town of 10,000 to have 200 police officers, right? Because that would be a little lopsided, wouldn't it? You know, what are they there to do? Not a whole lot, to be honest. They enforce some basic traffic laws, and they look at crimes that are committed, right? Sure. But if there's a lot of people with nothing better to do than to mess with you, and they're being paid to do it, they're going to try out their new toys. Okay, well, that doesn't end well usually. They end up being a nuisance.
Yep.
So narrow it down, you know, proportionally to the population that they're looking at. That they're, you'd say enforcing upon, but they're enforcing upon.
Sorry, do you hear the cat scratching at the windows?
You can see the shadow.
The ears.
Anyways.
There's a cat.
Yeah, so I think it should be very proportional. Lest there be a standing army in a small town.
I think that the general outcry when the police started buying military leftovers kind of revealed what the general public thinks about that. It shouldn't even look like an army. Shouldn't drive army Humvees, you know, down the middle of the street.
Well, that discussion got rolling maybe in the 2000s during the War on Terror.
Well, it happened somewhere around 2014. Because Bentonville.
Safer streets, safer something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what they called it. I just noticed that I saw it first. I saw a Humvee rolling down the road, and it was a full military. You could tell it was a military Humvee. And I thought, well, that's odd.
That doesn't make you feel protected?
No. No. Intimidated more often than not. I feel threatened. But they had purchased several military surplus. And there was an outcry almost immediately saying, and they got rid of them. So,
Get a tank instead.
Yeah, no.
That was
drive your little Charger and, hand out your little speeding tickets. I'm being real disrespectful here. Don't be driving a Humvee down the road because that's military.
That was actually a thing for a while. Not full on tanks, but the tracked vehicles. Cities were getting armored personnel carriers, which are basically tanks without the gun. And you have a big armored space inside for people. They were actually some cities were buying those from the federal government, from the military. And to the observer, they look like a tank. They have tracks that go around and, they make the noises. And so that scared people. And so eventually they stopped doing that. The government said, okay, we're not going to do that for cities anymore.
You're just putting out the wrong image.
So then they switched over to wheeled vehicles. Okay, if it has wheels, maybe it won't look so bad. So they did the Humvees and they did the MRAPs, mine-resistant armor protected vehicles, which were what we were using in Iraq at the time. They're basically just a giant truck.
Oh, okay.
Very high off the ground, have
I know what you're talking about.
a wedge shape below. So if they run over a mine or something, it directs the blast kind of to the side, so it doesn't go up into the vehicle.
Okay.
So they're very, very armored for use against insurgencies. Well, what happens when your local sheriff's department is driving around in an anti-insurgent vehicle on your streets? That labels you the insurgent. Right?
Exactly. And that's not right. That kind of defies the presumption of innocence. If you're literally driving something around that looks like we have a dictatorship
An occupying force.
Yeah, an occupying force, then you are assuming guilt on the part of your citizenry. And we don't roll like that. We have a presumption of innocence, and you go through court, the legal system, and hopefully get justice. So why would you want to put out that image? America is built on independence, and intimidation or even appearing to take away our independence, it doesn't go over well. It might look good to some people, but the majority of us, the little hackles go up, and that's not the image that you want to present. If you are supposed to serve and protect, you want to be trusted, and that is not the way to be trusted. So,
right.
But in their defense, it didn't take very long at all before they realized they'd stepped in a pile of poop and they had to go clean their shoes. So they cleaned it up and really put out a concentrated effort to be appear trusting, trustworthy, as if we really are here to serve you. So they adjusted their image, but I don't know how it's gone with actual. You can still be doing the same. You can still be enforcing the same useless laws and appear trustworthy. So I don't know how deep that's gone.
It's all in what they do. Do good things. Good job. Glad you're doing it. Do bad things. Stop that. Do better. But to play the devil's advocate, someone might say, okay, yes, you didn't like seeing militarized police. How is that different from now with ICE? People are seeing federalized or very militarized federal agents in their towns snatching people up.
Are they coming in military Humvees and
No.
carrying bazookas and all those sorts of things?
No. They have just plate carriers and stuff. But
then how are they different from the police?
No, they're just police.
Yeah, they're just police for a specific purpose. So, any person with a discerning mind is going to know the difference between a military incursion and a police activity, whether or not we like it, but they are actually enforcing an on the books law, just like the speeding tickets. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't make a good argument either way, but I think there is a difference.
Radio. Back to the news. That's kind of all I had on the short list.
Mm-hmm.
Venezuela, Renee Good and ICE, and Greenland. Anything else come to mind as far as recent events? Either one of you?
Well, I've been out of pocket, so you covered basically the things I've just caught blips of, and so I don't know of any other. Let me. Is there anything going on in Israel?
Haven't heard a lot.
Israel and Gaza, it seems to be pretty quiet.
I mean, maybe they've turned the stove down to a low simmer. It's always going.
Yeah, when are we going to be
stops.
able to go back? I've got some people that want to go. Well, we need to wait till it's safe. And I'm like, well,
That's never going to happen.
never going to happen. If you wait till it's safe to go to New York, you'll never go. So,
And there was some, well, anyway,
but
don't need to go into it.
Do it.
No.
not good. Okay. Latest news and videos.
Oh, kind of, I know we keep going back to this, kind of along the lines of the Minnesota thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting into potential Civil War territory. I know Tim Pool said Civil War, everyone takes a
yeah,
drink.
he says he says it's already started.
But now we're actually kind of looking down the barrel of it. Tim Walz, the governor,
Mm-hmm.
has ordered a general readiness, a standing order for the National Guard
Okay.
in response to the ICE agents.
Oh.
So now we're looking at maybe 1,500 state troops
Mm-hmm.
interfering with a bunch of federal agents.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. That looks
Another
like a
war
civil
over
war.
states' rights.
Yeah. That looks like a lot like a civil war.
Yeah.
So nothing really to go into much more there, but
Mm-hmm.
just a little side note that, it's
Yeah.
getting pretty spooky.
I'm choosing. I had this argument with myself a few days ago. I am but because of I heard a blip by Tim Pool about the fact that there are always minor skirmishes before a full-on war.
We had
You know,
Lee, Kansas.
And so he's, referencing there have already been skirmishes. And so if you look back at our time now from the future, you could say that this was the beginning of a civil war.
Mhm.
And I have to live as if people will come to their senses, that they're not going to go that far, that they're not. Yeah. And obviously other people made that decision and then war happened. But it's not like I'm going to ignore the signs, but I'm also not going to prophesy it. Just
Mm-hmm.
make it happen with my own words.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be one of the voices that trusts people to do the right thing. Be calm, be rational, and just keep saying, be calm, be rational, we can talk about these things. We don't have to come to blows. And maybe it'll be enough to hold back the tide if enough people do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to be a Tim Pool, because I hear the hysteria in his voice sometimes, and I can't figure out if he's honestly worried or he's just clickbaiting it.
I think he looks at a lot of the news and sees patterns,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't think he's trying to foment it. I think he has said in the past, "Hey, don't do this. Be good.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind. Don't do this." But I'm reading the news, and it looks like, I'm seeing patterns from way back,
And when he's having a calm conversation about it, it's, you stop hearing the hysteria or the anxiety, and you can listen to his words and decide for yourself, whether it's legitimate or not. But when I hear that voice go up 2 octaves and he's yelling, I tend to veer away from it, because that's emotionalism. You're trying to drive it through emotion. Mm-hmm. And he's just as capable as anybody else to drum up viewers through your emotional.
True.
And I don't like that version. I would rather him give me the facts, and then I can look at the facts. And I am also an intelligent human being, and I can figure out what I'm seeing coming. Or if you're a believer, God will tell me. God will let me know. Here, this is coming, be prepared. Or that person is trying to manipulate you. Don't do it. So that's up to each person.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I wanted to get your thoughts on. And this isn't, I guess it is news in one way. AI. There's a lot, and this is more our realm, music.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's getting good.
The people are using AI now to make worship music.
Yes. Well, do you remember the one I sent you, the country music?
That was the first one.
That was AI. And it got me the first time. I didn't realize it until like maybe a week later after I sent it to you. I'm like, that's AI. It got me for a while.
I figured it out. Well, I don't know when I figured it out, but it was pretty quick. And what gave it away to me was the image, because it was obviously an AI generated image. Mm-hmm. And then I started hearing the same voice from different avenues.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then it all started to sound alike.
Yeah.
The blues part.
It all sounds like Chris Stapleton.
I don't know much about that, about him.
Kind of a bluesy, gravelly kind of.
Yeah. That's the voice, but now is coming out all over the place. And even this one guy put one out. He had obviously, Seth something, he had created some AI music and apparently gotten some flack, and called soulless, because this was computer generated music, not human created.
Was he a musician otherwise?
He said, I can't afford a band. Then he wrote a song after that using the AI saying, I have been given, God has given us this new tool to get the word out. And this is the song singing it. And he's saying, you could call me soulless, but I couldn't afford the band. So I wanted to get your thoughts.
So there are, I know that there's programs out there specifically for, to supply the instruments and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You can do that. Mm-hmm. But, of course, saying, God gave us this tool. It's like, that's, maybe a bit of a stretch, but
man created a new tool, just like man created guitars, or harps or lyres.
About that, but yeah. I was like, obviously, I haven't really thought much on the AI music side of things. I think I'd probably, I don't know, because I don't know if it would be. I don't know if it's contradictory for me to have a different opinion on AI generated music as opposed to like other like art and such. But of course, the sort of music I listen to probably won't get very good AI stuff. But,
I don't know, man. That's
obviously, it's only getting better.
Let's look up some AI metal.
I have some saved. You'll be blown away.
Really?
Yes.
Like metal or just different?
It can do metal, for sure.
Yeah. I know that I remember seeing some, a few years ago, some attempts at that sort of thing, but that was obviously before the current, stuff was a thing. But I don't know.
I've put some thought into this.
Okay. So have I. So
it's good
fire away.
I'm glad you brought it up. Initially, I wasn't sure what to think. I thought, well, I was of two minds about it. I thought, well, once again, even the rocks will cry out that, God is king. And if you don't say with your mouth that God is king, I will. The rocks cry out. Okay, so the same applies to computers. They are both inanimate objects. All right.
The guitar is an inanimate object.
Yeah, exactly. So if the very earth will cry out that God is king and He is Lord, well, the microchips made out of silicone that we dredged up from the ground will also cry out that God is king. All material in the universe will say that, computers included. Okay, so could this be just
has the potential to.
Right.
We'll put it that way.
Oh, sure, it can be used for evil things. Yeah. Absolutely, and is. But so could this just be the incarnation of that? Okay, we make the computer say Christ is king.
Right.
Okay, great.
That's different from it doing it itself.
Right. You're speaking the AI what to do.
Yeah, it's I don't think that's I don't think that matches kind of the spirit of the rocks crying out kind of verse.
Well, we can make a guitar do also very evil things too. We can make evil music with guitars. We can also make really good music with guitars. It's all on how you use it. You're putting the intent into the guitar. Guitar isn't in itself good or evil. Same with the AI, I guess. But then I thought, well, that may not be entirely accurate because, once again, it is soulless. Worship was meant to be, and this is kind of narrows down to only worship. Secular music, I don't care. I think it's kind of, I roll my eyes at it, but worship in and of itself should be human-based. There's a soul behind it. Not just the colloquial term soulless, but there is a created being behind it, a mind and an intellect, created in the image of God, as only humans are. If you take that out of the equation, God doesn't care at all about it. It's meaningless to him, unless there's a person who made it, who wrote it. The words are coming out of their mind,
who critiqued it.
Yeah, with their intent behind it to worship God. That their heart is in it. And then you have musicians playing it, putting their souls and their heart into it. So that's where I'm at with it now. I think perhaps it's gone too far in worship. I disagree with the gentleman you're referencing. Or no.
Seth, whoever it was.
He was saying that it's okay to use?
Yes.
Okay. I disagree with him. I think that it should not be done. Now, you can use it for sure. If you can't afford a band, I can't afford a band. It would take lots of logistics to get everyone together in the same day. Music all set up, the instruments all set up. It's a mess. Very expensive too. I think it can be used as a design tool, like you use CAD.
I was getting ready to use that as an example.
You put everything together on a computer. Say, will this work? Yeah, that actually looks pretty good. Or wait, no, I think we should redo this. Change this, put this over here. Switch this around and add this. And tell it to run and see what happens. Oh, absolutely, that looks pretty good. Now let's get the paper version. That's right. So you print it out on paper. It looks all nice. Okay, great. Then you hand it to the builder, which is the musician. The composer can say, I don't want to get everyone together just for a maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this will work. How will this sound?
Mm-hmm.
If it flops, well, I mean, I've wasted everyone's time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell the AI, okay, do this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my lyrics. Here's what I think the music should sound like. Generate that.
Mm-hmm.
No, it didn't work. Okay, it sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing wasted.
Mm-hmm.
If it sounds great, okay, now I know the AI version sounds so polished. It sounds so good. Why even have humans involved?
Mm-hmm.
They'll just mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to. Otherwise, it's meaningless. It's so cheap.
What makes it soulless is that it's perfect
Mm-hmm.
and it's repeatable.
Yeah.
And so when you have what I've seen, here's my thinking on it. If you use the AI, like I use CAD, to create a landscape design or a site plan, my soul is in that plan. My creativity is in that plan. And it has to be critiqued and it has to be approved by a client. It has to, it has to go through all these processes. But if I cannot, and trust me, there are designers that are soulless. They create soulless designs. And anybody can do it. Anybody could throw a rock in your yard and make you like it. But it takes a designer, a creative person, to actually use the tools, whatever tool you have. When it went from, I'm old enough that I started pen to paper. So you had a 24 by 36 sheet of vellum. And if you made a mistake, you better have those mechanical erasers that'll just, and take that line off, and then you start again. The process of design was much slower, much more laborious. Well, I made the transition to the CAD, and that tool made the creative process easier and quicker, but I still have the responsibility to pour my heart and soul into that design and not just produce some duplicated, plan that I saw somewhere else. I have to feed life into the piece of, because it does end up being a piece of art. Mm-hmm. When my houses are built, or the landscapes or the resorts, whatever, whenever they're brought to life or they're not. And that my byline for my business is I'm imitating the original creator. He used what tools he had to create life, and I have to use that same creativity. I have to put the same, as best I can, the same heart into the work. And if I do it well, then it breathes life. Mm-hmm. If you use AI to, I did a test run during Hanukkah. I've had a rough year. We'll just put it that way. And Hanukkah showed up, and I have to write 8 letters for 8 nights. And my brain was shot. I was not capable of writing 8 letters, to these kids and adults that we delivered to. So I thought, I'm going to see if I can do AI. I'm going to do Chat GPT, like I'm the big nerd. It was awful. I had to ask what I wanted from it. I gave them the background, gave it like all of last year's letters so they could see the style. Nope. It could not fake being me. It wrote very interesting stories, which I had to critique and edit and send back. And it was this process.
At that point, it's more work than just writing letters.
It was. And it was, I will just be honest with you, it was devastating. It was a bad couple of days, because I could see the soullessness of the stories. They were cute, but they didn't have my personality. They didn't have my rhythm. Like when you read something that I have written for Hanukkah, it has a rhythm and it has humor, like it leaves you time to laugh. So there's positives and quirks that you cannot get out of AI, because AI does not have a personality of its own. Mm-hmm. I do. And I could not draw out of that program me. And so the letters that went out this year, sorry, they were good, but they were not great. They were not me. And I was very disappointed. So that won't happen again.
So the final ones were AI generated?
Yes, with me edited. I mean, I edited it and tweaked it and twerked it. No. I tweaked it and, I did a lot of work with it to shape the stories so that it would tie all the way across the 8 letters. Mm-hmm. But and they went out. And then the very last night, I wrote a letter myself. I wrote the letter and apologized for the lack of my soul, my spirit in those letters. Because and one of I'm sure God orchestrates these things. The point of these 8 letters was know what's true, know what's real, and know what's legend. Bigfoot may be legend, may or may not be true, may or not be real. The 4-foot duck was definitely real. Trying to get him in and out of that truck was hysterically funny. But he's not alive. Jesus is a legend. He is very real and very alive. And so, that was, and each letter had, the first bit was the real story behind Hanukkah, the Maccabees. The second half of the letter was the legends, the stories, the using our imagination to pretend and tell stories that teach things. Mm-hmm. But you have to know the difference between reality, real, and imagination or legend. And so the AI, that was not real. It's real as in there's a physical presence, but it is soulless. Mm-hmm. It's going to do as much as you can put into it, but it's still never going to be what you would have written yourself. It can't. For one, if it reaches perfection, you definitely didn't write it, because we're going to have flaws and we're going to use words improperly every now and then. And just like a house, this house has character, trust me, because there are dings and dents and things that have shown that there's been life lived in the house. So there are imperfections everywhere. We instinctively feel that. And so AI cannot. So you have to understand that it's a great tool, just like CAD is a great tool. I use it every day. But it will never replace human creativity. It may supersede an individual's logic, but it can never be anything with a life of its own. It has to pull from a human. Mm-hmm. So I think it's okay to use it to create music. Yeah. If you're the one saying, okay, I want to create a song that talks about, there's a song right now that talks about the boat that the disciples were in. Jesus goes off to pray and they see him coming on the water. And I think the song is called Come to Me or something, because Jesus is calling people out of the boat to come to him. And it's one of those blues things, same voice, yeah. same bluesy. I mean, you can just see the similarities between it and every other song lately that's come out that's used AI. So create the song, hand it to some humans.
Yeah.
Just hand it to the humans. If they've created the song, and like when we go back to practicing music for worship, we're a couple of those we're gonna do because they are good lyric and musically they're well done. But humans will always be able to do it better than an AI will.
Yeah, I think it's drawing out what God wants from us. Does God want the words? No, not really.
He wants the heart.
Yes, he wants the heart. He wants the intent.
And some of those songs, the heart comes through. The heart comes through what they've created using AI. But in some, it's just like, okay, that was copied.
Well, and we're getting into a feedback loop as well. Eventually, what's going to happen is, because the AI was trained on a human-generated internet, we think. Unless you subscribe to dead internet theory. I
don't.
Dead internet theory says that most people on the internet are not actual people; they're just bots.
Oh, okay.
And most interactions you have on the internet are just interactions with no one in general. It's just computers.
Or that there's gonna, or I've also heard it referred to kind of just there's eventually there's gonna be a point where there's more like there most of the internet is stuff about people that no longer that like say 90% of your social media accounts will be inactive because those people are dead, or the internet is full of is chock full of stuff that doesn't that refers to nobody anymore, things like that.
So it's basically like space trash.
Yeah. So AI was trained on, we think, a human-generated internet at the times when they first came out. Well, now AI content, music, literature, all these things, images,
is learning from AI content.
Is learning from previous recycled AI internet. Well, so at what point are we getting not even remotely human-generated content? The AI is just looking at other AI stuff and copying the AI stuff.
Depends on where wherever it's looking, because also as stuff can big I think I don't know how much of it is like I don't know for how many people it's an issue, a big part of the issue, but AI can generate loads of stuff really, like vast quantities of stuff really fast, and so it wouldn't. And so if your AI is using everything as its data set, you could very quickly get to the point where 90% of the content that's there is generated just because it can generate so much stuff.
And we've seen the effects of this. AI is not excluded from this. What happens when you make a photocopy of a photocopy and do that 10 times?
Oh, yeah.
It just falls
degenerates.
apart. Yeah. Eventually, you just get a black piece of paper. What happens, and we've seen this, what happens when you tell an AI, okay, I'm feeding you prompts. Run. Okay. It spits out an image. Run it again. Spits out an image. Run it again. And do that like 100 times. That's where you start getting the people with like 5 arms. And, it just looks like a mess. That's what it starts to turn into. So it's possible with AI to do that.
To generate trash.
Yeah, intentionally get it to do that. If you yourself click copy. What happens when it's doing it by itself? When what its research is based on is already a copy of 10 times deep and 10 steps removed from any human input. Who knows what we're going to get? Right. So.
Junk.
Yeah.
Well, and that's not a real long timeline either, because how long ago did you send me that first one?
Not that long ago.
Yeah, no more than 6 months. And within 4 of those months, at first I was like, oh, this stuff's great. Whoever's doing this is really great. And then it's like,
doesn't hold up.
Well, that sounds exactly like that one over and over and over again. And so eventually I'm like, well, there's a few of them that are good. And then the rest are junk copies. And that does come through.
Alternatively, like, I was more following that sort of stuff when it was like AI art was becoming more of a thing, was when I was more watching that sort of thing. And like, that started, or at least I think I started noticing it in like 22 or 3, I think, give or take, is when that started taking off a bit more. And I remember during that time, you could tell immediately, like, because the style, like, there were a few, like, 4 or 5 different styles that you would see everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could tell pretty easily. But now that has proliferated enough that there's a bunch of different ways that it could be. And so it's more difficult to tell. There are still ways that, and I've seen YouTube videos come up. It's like, hey, here's ways that you can tell, either through looking for specific things in the stuff or photo manipulation that lets you see whatever stuff that you can use to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it's there is more variety because it's the more it gets used by more people, the more variety there can potentially
mm-hmm.
be. And so, like, that has gotten better over time, more varied and, more and higher quality, I guess you could say. And so it could just simply be that it's in the like on the music end, it's simply in the early enough stages that it hasn't proliferated enough to get the requisite variety
mm-hmm.
to, be, or like, it's just, the more it gets used, the better it's going to be.
It's only listen to Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, it's like as more people use it for different things, and as it has more data to work with, and all those sorts of things, I would say it's like, to me it seems more likely that it's simply in the early stages, and that's
mm-hmm.
why it's easier to tell or might sound samey, because
mm-hmm.
the AI image stuff was a similar way. Like, they all had a very similar style to them, or at
mm-hmm.
least a few different ones. Mm-hmm. And so I imagine it's more just kind of as it gets used more and
mm-hmm.
proliferates and whatnot. It might not proliferate as quickly because more people seem to be, I don't know how the general sentiment is, like if there's much difference in the sentiment between the AI art and AI music,
mm-hmm.
but I would guess that it'll only get better as time goes on.
I'm sure it will.
Mm-hmm.
CAD's gotten better, and
I don't think that the issue of like it only going off of itself and like poorly, like I don't think the deterioration is probably going to be as much of an issue, because it's not going off, because it won't necessarily be going off of its like failures, I guess you could say, so much as again, it all depends on the data set that stuff's working with. And why I was chiming on earlier was there are people out there with the AI art stuff that were so against it that they were saying, like, what we can do is we can like poison the well and feed it images like improperly tagged and such, so that you like
confuse it.
Give it a picture of a horse and label it like that, and the metadata says, no, this is a hand, or things like that. Poison the data set. Like, so there are ways you can do stuff like that, and and at least again with that, when there were people that disliked it enough to do that. But yeah, it's all about what stuff you train it on, and
what you feed it,
and as you get as you use it more and get better results out of it, you can feed those better results back in, and it can get the positive feedback
mm-hmm.
loop rather than the negative one, basically.
When I was thinking about this yesterday, because I was moving my camera around, my DSLR, and I was remembering that when my brother-in-law, who was a photographer, who did it the old school, Ansel Adams way, and where you had dark rooms and all sorts of things, and you had to develop things by hand, and he was deeply upset with the advent of digital photography because it took the skill level out of it, and to him. And where I started with the DSLR, the digital camera, mm-hmm. and so I've never had to develop a photo myself, but a new set of skills determines whether you're good or not, whether you're professional grade or not. And so the same with AI. It is a tool, and there will be people that hate the transition to it, to using it as a tool. And then there are people that use it as a tool, and then they develop a high level of skill using that tool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're already seeing this happen in film. Sorry. Have you been following Star Wars creations lately?
Not much,
on
no.
YouTube. There's this this creator, I forget the name of it, and they're using AI to make basically side stories about Darth Vader.
Mm.
And
yeah, I haven't heard anything like that.
It's really good.
Really?
Yeah, they're because AI is not good at regenerating people, right? You tell it to generate this character, all right, based on this person. Okay, that works for one scene. And then in the next scene you develop, it kind of looks a little different, and you can tell that they look like different people, even though it's supposed to be based on the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting two different scenes is a kind of a problem.
Okay.
If you're going to have consistent characters,
mm-hmm.
they've figured it out. And so they have someone that looks like Hayden Christensen
mm-hmm.
in every single episode.
Yeah, if you give it, I mean, again, the more data you feed it, give it all the necessary angles and expressions, and just
mm-hmm.
the more data you feed it, the more it has to go off of. And so if it the more consistent it can be, if it's because if you give it if it's got the equivalent of a full 3D scan of your face and all these different expressions and all that kind of stuff, it can
mm-hmm.
pull from that, and if it knows what it's looking at well enough, it can keep track of that
mm-hmm.
better. Science.
That's true. Up until recently, it's been very difficult to get it to do that, though.
Yeah.
They've cracked the code. They've done it. And they've made it very Star Warsy feeling. So much that I think Disney's suing them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're saying that you're making basically episodes of our stuff.
Uh-huh.
We should be making that.
And they own the rights to it.
Yeah. But
tell them to quit screwing it up.
Yeah,
and other people won't have to fix it for you.
Yeah. So I think AI is a good tool. It will help us to either show restraint
mm-hmm.
in its use, or we'll misuse it, and the effects will be obvious.
Mm-hmm.
The quality of art out there will greatly degrade.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity in our own brains will greatly degrade.
Yeah, one of the concerns, I guess, is that, and I felt this when I was using it to write those letters. I was having to work at it, but it was less creative on my part. I was doing less creative, hardcore thinking and cheating it by letting the AI do the skeleton,
mm-hmm.
And then I put skin on it or whatever. So if I continually did that, then my ability to write would degrade.
And that's coming from someone who has had to actually create things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, come at it from the point of someone who has never had to, and they're learning this for the first time. They're not developing those skills.
Yeah.
And so they're just a hollow shell of a brain.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had to work through these problems.
Yeah.
And think, okay, well, let me start a rough draft of my story here.
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to? What kind of story should it be?
Mm-hmm.
What characters do I want? How many characters do I want?
Mm-hmm.
They just say, AI, generate me a story,
mm-hmm.
and it does it for them.
Yeah.
And they don't get those neural pathways
mm-hmm.
working and developed.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tell them after all that, unless they learn from AI, perhaps,
mm-hmm.
what a good story looks like, and then maybe they learn from
or they learn by failing.
Yeah.
But
there's something to be said about creating something from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And not having to look at finished works by AI.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, unless we're careful, we're modifying future humans with this technology. We're degrading the
well, you could say that
creative capabilities.
I guess, photographers that did it the hard way could look at me and say, you've lost the ability to, fine tune your photographs. And I'm like,
I don't think so. I think
I learned a different skill. I learned how to, as I take the picture, as I choose what to photograph, I have to think about all those things. And it's just as much the luck of the draw for Ansel Adams to have gotten the perfect shot as it is for me.
I would think that that's less relevant to AI because you're still working hard to get that shot. You're modifying the scene in different ways than he was, but you're still using the same techniques. You're still, okay, I get this angle, I get the 3/4 angle or whatever, or 2/3, aspect, all that. I'm not a photographer, but I'm just using little bits and pieces of what I've heard.
That's okay.
So you're still working on the same basic concepts, and you're just modifying your pictures in post differently with different methods. He was using analog methods, using digital methods. You're still doing the same functional thing. You're still having to create that scene or capture it.
And it's still
not
a work of art.
The camera's not doing it for you.
Right.
This is the camera doing it for you. The pen is holding itself and writing, and you're just watching it.
And choosing which picture to take.
Yeah. You're still creating it. With AI, you're not creating it. Or very little of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a dangerous thing we should be very cautious of. Much like carrying the internet around in our pockets.
Yeah, that would be a good comparison.
And all the brain rot that's
I'm like, this is pointing at my laptop as if it's alive. I have AutoCAD on this computer. I could use that for nefarious purposes, or I could use it to create beautiful things. Same for the phone. You can use it for great evil, but you can also use it in ministry. And so...
But you have to be conscious of what it's doing to your brain. Our attention spans have gone out the window. So I think be careful of that we maintain our cognitive abilities going forward.
Yeah.
So if all this went away, we could still create things.
Yeah. Okay.
Be prepared to return to, frontiersman.
I was going to go caveman. So
it's like I think thing on the internet for a little while, reject modernity, return to monkey.
Oh, okay. We start throwing poop. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for telling me what your thoughts are.
And that's the way it was.
And that's the way it was.
That's the rest of the story.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's like, and that's the way, I like it. It's like, I think is the way it was in the movie.
Yeah. It's a good movie. All right. We're good. We'll see you next time.